On May 21, the Catholic Church commemorates several saints, most notably, 1. Saint Christopher Magallanes and companions. 2. Saint Eugene de Maisnard. 3. Saint Theobald of Vienne. The life of Saint Christopher Magallanes. Full name: Cristobal Magallanes Jara. Birth: July 30, 1869, Tototiche, Jalisco, Mexico. Death, martyrdom May 25, 1927, Colotlán, Jalisco, Mexico. Feast day, May 21. Canonized, May 21, 2000, by Pope John Paul II. Title: Priest and Martyr. Patronage: Persecuted Christians. Mexico. Early life. Saint Christopher Magallanes was born into a humble farming family in the village of Tototiche, located in the Mexican state of Jalisco. As a youth, he worked as a shepherd and farmer to help support his family. Inspired by a deep faith and a strong sense of vocation, he entered the seminary at the age of 19 and was ordained a priest in 1899. Priestly ministry. Father Magallanes served primarily in rural areas and was known for his dedication to the poor and indigenous peoples. He established schools, built a dam for irrigation, and promoted economic development projects in his parish to improve living conditions. He was deeply committed to evangelization and social justice, especially among the indigenous Huichol people. The Cristero War. In the 1920s, Mexico underwent a period of severe religious persecution under President Plutarco Elias Calles, who enforced anti-Catholic laws, including the suppression of public worship, expulsion of foreign clergy, and closure of seminaries. This led to the Cristero War, 1926 to 1929, a Catholic uprising in defense of religious freedom. Although Father Magallanes did not support armed rebellion, he strongly opposed the government's oppression of the Church. In response to the government's closure of seminaries, he secretly established a seminary in his parish to continue training priests. Arrest and martyrdom. In 1927, Father Magallanes was arrested by government troops under false charges of promoting rebellion. Despite his innocence, he was convicted without trial. On May 25, 1927, he was executed by firing squad while forgiving his persecutors and declaring, "I die innocent, and ask God that my blood may serve to unite my Mexican brethren." Canonization and legacy. Saint Christopher Magallanes was canonized by Pope John Paul II along with 24 other martyrs, 21 priests and 3 laymen, all victims of religious persecution during the Cristero War. Their joint feast day is celebrated on May 21. Arrest and martyrdom. In 1927, Father Magallanes was arrested by government troops under false charges of promoting rebellion. Despite his innocence, he was convicted without trial. On May 25, 1927, he was executed by firing squad while forgiving his persecutors and declaring, "I die innocent, and ask God that my blood may serve to unite my Mexican brethren." Canonization and legacy. Saint Christopher Magallanes was canonized by Pope John Paul II along with 24 other martyrs, 21 priests and 3 laymen. The life of Saint Eugene de Maisnard. Full name: Charles Joseph Eugene de Maisnard. Birth: August 1, 1782, Aix-en-Provence, France. Death: May 21, 1861, Marseille, France. Feast day, May 21. Canonized, December 3, 1995, by Pope John Paul II. He was Bishop of Marseille, founder of the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate, OMI. Early life and exile. Saint Eugene de Maisnard was born into a noble family during a time of great political turmoil, the French Revolution. When he was only 8 years old, his family was forced into exile in Italy due to the revolution's anti-aristocratic violence. During this exile, the family faced hardship and poverty, which made a deep impression on Eugene. Conversion. Eugene returned to France in 1802, disillusioned with aristocratic privilege and searching for meaning. Initially drawn to worldly pleasures, a profound spiritual conversion occurred during a Good Friday service in 1807, when he deeply contemplated the crucifixion of Christ. This moment changed his life, and he felt a strong call to the priesthood. He entered the seminary of Saint Sulpice in Paris and was ordained a priest in 1811. Founding the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate after ordination, Eugene de Maisnard dedicated himself to ministering to the poor and neglected, especially those in rural Provence who had been spiritually abandoned during the Revolution in 1816. he founded a small missionary society with a few other priests, which later became known as the Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate, OMI. Their mission was to evangelize the poor, preach parish missions, revive the faith among Catholics in post-revolutionary France, send missionaries across the world. Today, the Oblates are active in more than 70 countries. Bishop of Marseille in 1837, Eugene was appointed the Bishop of Marseille. Under his leadership, he built new churches and seminaries, promoted Catholic education and social works, supported religious orders and vocations, revived religious life in a city wounded by years of secularism. He was deeply pastoral, caring for both clergy and laity with great compassion and discipline. Death and canonization. Bishop Eugene de Maisonneuve died on May 21, 1861. His final words were, "Charity, charity, charity, in everything, charity." He was beatified in 1975 and canonized by Pope John Paul II in 1995, who called him a man of Advent, always anticipating the coming of Christ, especially among the poor and abandoned. Legacy. Founder of one of the most active missionary congregations in the Church, advocate for the poor, rural communities, and the spiritual revival of France. An example of transformation, from a nobleman with worldly ambitions to a holy man fully devoted to God's mission. Spiritual impact. Saint Eugene de Maisonneuve is a powerful model of conversion, turning from self-centeredness to self-giving; mission, going to the margins to proclaim the gospel; charity, letting love guide every action. The life of Saint Theobald of Vienne. Name: Saint Theobald, Thibaut, of Vienne. Birth: circa 927 AD, likely in Provence, France. Death: May 21, 1001 AD, Vienne, France. Feast day: May 21. Title: Archbishop of Vienne. Canonized, recognized as a saint by local veneration and church tradition. Pre-congregation. Early life. Saint Theobald of Vienne was born into nobility around the year 927 in the region of Provence, France. Little is known about his early life, but historical records indicate that he was raised with strong Christian values and likely received a classical education, as was common among nobles of the time. He chose a life of service to the Church rather than pursuing wealth or political power. Ecclesiastical career. Theobald became Archbishop of Vienne around 970 AD. Vienne, located in southeastern France, was an important ecclesiastical and cultural center in medieval times. As Archbishop, Theobald was known for promoting church reforms in line with the Benedictine monastic revival, defending the rights and spiritual independence of the Church against interference from secular rulers, supporting the Cluniac reform movement, which emphasized holiness, monastic discipline, and liturgical beauty, encouraging education and moral integrity among the clergy. Holiness and influence. Theobald was deeply respected for his personal holiness, humility, and firm commitment to the Church's mission. He lived simply, cared for the poor, and led with justice and compassion. He was a trusted spiritual guide and played a significant role in maintaining peace and unity in the region during a time of political unrest. His influence extended beyond Vienne, earning him admiration from both church and civil leaders. Death and veneration. Saint Theobald died on May 21, 1001. His sanctity was recognized soon after his death, and local Christians began venerating him as a saint. His feast day is celebrated on May 21, particularly in France, though not canonized through the formal modern process, since it didn't exist at the time. He is recognized as a saint by pre-congregation tradition, a designation for those canonized by widespread and ancient veneration before the Vatican's current process was established. Legacy. Saint Theobald of Vienne is remembered for his leadership in the Church during a time of reform, his moral and spiritual strength, his defense of ecclesiastical independence, his dedication to Christ-like service and monastic ideals.